Several years ago, I was working on an important project for one of our clients. The holidays were imminent and the US team were so eager to finish up. We agreed to blitz the job with a marathon telecom. By the end of a long meeting, the client's UK offices had gone dark. The building was deserted. I took another hour annotating the report while I waited for the US team to send me a summary of their comments. It was past midnight when I finally mounted my motorbike to drive home. My journey involved navigating Europe's most notorious and insanely busy motorway junction called Hanger Lane. I knew if I entered the junction at the right speed, I could achieve circumnavigation in one move. However, I got my timing wrong and I had to accelerate hard to get through the last of the traffic lights. Sadly, I had not closed my backpack fully. As I took off, the contents of my bag fell into the path of the oncoming traffic. The meeting of the two must have been something to behold. I spent 4 hours picking up laptop debris, report pages and pens from 3 different slip roads, extending as far as half a mile down each. My initial concern was that someone might find pages of the report that were clearly marked with the client's name and identified as confidential. However, as time passed, I became more and more concerned about having to tell the clients that the efforts in the meeting had been wasted. My laptop was destroyed. Most of the pieces were no larger than a box of cigarettes. My phone, used to record the meeting, was terminated. I only found 65 of the 120 pages of annotated report. Most pages were impossible to read, but I should be grateful that it wasn't raining at the time. I'd found remnants of the binder I'd written my notes in, about 300 metres down one slip road. It was badly damaged, and only a few of the pages were still intact. After a short sleep, I set to preparing a new draft of the report. I used my memory and a few of the remaining notes I had to address what I hope was all the points discussed during the meeting. Imagine my surprise when the client contacted me a week later, thanking me for providing such a thorough and well-executed draft. I didn't dare tell them what had happened. How did I manage that? I don't have the best memory, and after a long day at work, my otherwise addled brain was surviving on adrenaline alone. Despite this, I'd remembered almost everything. Research into this topic may give us a clue as to why. During my undergraduate studies, my limited memory was one reason I took extensive notes. To be honest, 25 years ago there were very few practical options to recording lectures beyond pen and paper. Over the years, I've incorporated new technologies into my work routine. However, they have mainly been used as a fail-safe mechanism to counter any loss of notes. I find many who sit with laptops open during meetings to be unengaged. This is only my subjective opinion, but I am acutely aware how distracting it can be if your phone vibrates or buzzes during a meeting. Is it possible that email, instant messaging, the internet and other projects diverts our focus? Mindlessly typing certainly seems to reduce the contribution that people make to meetings, but might it also impact their ability to retain the information discussed at the meeting? Research shows that college students who take notes on a computer only spend about 60% of the class taking notes. They spend 40% of class time using the internet and other programs unrelated to the class. Plus, electronic devices introduce the opportunity for social media to interrupt their focus. It seems unlikely that professionals would be quite so susceptible to distraction, doesn't it? But the same research indicates that those students who write notes by hand learn more than those who type. It seems that those writing by hand tend to be aware that they can't catch every word, so it forces them to focus on listening and digesting the information they're given, then summarising it into their own words. The approach seems to make the brain function way more efficiently, fostering comprehension and retention. This has been termed the encoding hypothesis, as opposed to the external storage hypothesis that requires perfect note-taking for later reference. If you want to get the best out of a meeting, you should adapt one of these three options. Number 1. Write your notes by hand when possible. Put your brain to the test, listen, comprehend and summarise in your notes. In addition to high retention, you won't have the distractions that come with a computer. It will also allow you to engage with the meeting process and contribute to outcomes. Number 2, only take notes on your computer when you truly can't keep up with the proceedings. Transfer the notes from the computer to paper once you've had time to reflect. Yes, write them up. It doesn't take as long as you might think, and it gives you the opportunity to cut out any redundant content, add missing information, and include your own considered observations. Number 3. Engage fully with the meeting and take brief notes while capturing the proceedings on a recording device. Write up the notes later. This third approach can be more time intensive but can be useful in situations where it's difficult to take notes. I once attended a meeting in an alligator park, next to an alligator. Although it may seem a little draconian, adopting a no laptops or cell phones policy for meetings improves the retention of key discussion points by your team. We can only speculate that this would make the information more available to their immediate consciousness when making decisions later on. Furthermore, you can spend the time at the start of the meeting talking to colleagues rather than worrying about the Wi-Fi password or power sources or finding the perfect acoustics. Unfortunately, you are at risk of facilitating conversations, fostering mutual respect, and maybe even regaining the value of group thinking, and all of those things sound truly awful. One final benefit for me has been that I've built a library of past notebooks that serve as a ready source of ideas and a handy resource when I want to check facts and figures from past projects. In conclusion, don't kid yourself. Science confirms that your efforts at multitasking are in vain. You are simply doing more things less successfully, failing at 2 or more tasks rather than succeeding at 1. Over the last 5 millennia, we have established an intimate relationship with the written word, using it to capture our thoughts. It seems that technology has yet to unlock or exploit the intricacies of that relationship. Edward Bulwer Lytton coined the phrase, "The pen is mightier than the sword," in 1839, which is almost 150 years before the launch of the first portable computer in 1984. If he was around today, he might have concluded that the pen and paper are not only mightier than the sword, but also the word processor.